welcome to Issues and Ideas here on UWW-TV. I'm your host, CJ Van Aken, accompanied by our guest, Dr. Dana Brodell. I'm so happy to have you on the show. Please.
Thanks, CJ.
Yeah, you're welcome. Can you please tell us about what you do here on campus?
Sure. So I do all kinds of things. I started in 2011 as an adjunct instructor for the English department, teaching primarily first year English because my background is in a couple things. Okay, my stutter's really bad today.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
I'm not. We're.
I know,
we're
but now I'm totally freaked out that I'm being recorded.
You're good.
So writing, and the work of tutors who work with students to help them with their writing. So I have this really strong background in that. So I was hired specifically for that the first time around, and then a tenure track gig became available, and they were looking for that expertise, but also my American literature expertise. Yeah. So I've been doing sort of a combination of the writing coursework and literature classes really since probably 2012.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. And have you enjoyed your time here at Whitewater?
I really have.
Good.
Yeah. So the school I used to work at is Marquette University. Okay. And when I came to Whitewater, the one thing that I noticed right away is that there was a true sense of community and that there were differences in the student body and differences in how our students had kind of experienced their lives, and they were bringing those with them into the classroom. So it feels like this university is real in ways that universities that are for more privileged students or that tend to be populated by more privileged students tend not to feel as real. That was quite enlightening and heartening. It just felt like I was in the right place, and I still feel that way. Good. I still feel like I'm in the right place.
Good. I'm really glad to hear it.
Yeah.
I had you for 102.
It's true. And you lived to tell the tale.
I know, and I survived, and I know that you focus and work on our freshman curriculum here, and working on, I guess you could say the word standardized, or is there a different way that you would explain it?
Yeah, so around, I think it was 2016 or 2017, when you're here as long as I am, you sort of lose track of time, right? Like, how long have I been here? I stepped into the coordinator position for first year English. And what that looks like is not so much standardization, but trying to make sure that the courses that we're asking students to take, especially those core courses, which are really important, and all students have to take, unless they are majorly brainos and they pass out of all of them. Not pass out, but they pass out of all of them. We try to make sure that the courses do a couple of things. That primarily that they serve our students' needs and aren't just giving them stuff that we think is useful that they don't see as useful. So a lot of our conversations are about what does writing look like in the real world, and what are we trying to prepare our students to do? Because we're no longer in a historical, cultural, educational space where it's good enough to just read poetry, interpret poetry, and then write stories that are not stories, write essays about that. There's nothing in the real world that looks like that.
Yes.
So we try to think about, well, how can we help students in their the business college or business classes, or if you're going into comm, what can we do to provide those students with some skills that they can actually use? Yeah. So we've been moving into kind of curriculum that is not so much academic in the kind of traditional sense, but that kind of bridges that academic space and kind of the workplace or the real world that students exist in. Because really, I mean, even as a professor, I don't think that what I write or how I write is even academic, and I am an academic. I still have to do other things like PowerPoints and presentations. So we try to think about that. What are we having our students do and why?
It's not as serious or formal as most people make it out to be, but it's still important to have those qualities to do so.
Exactly.
Great. If you don't mind, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come right back, I have some more questions for you.
UW Whitewater Bookstore is your one-stop shop for apparel, textbooks, and technology. Stop in for a wide selection of gifts from our alumni, family, and name brand sections. Need to purchase or rent a textbook? Head downstairs to Textbook Services. Check out our new custom shop and create personalized apparel for your organization. Need a charger, laptop, or headphones? Our new technology section has everything you might need. For more information and bookstore hours, visit uwwhitewaterbookstore.com.
Welcome back. So I know we talked about first year curriculum. I would like to kind of talk about with what's been happening recently and how that has kind of affected your field of study.
Yeah.
Is that big enough?
I mean, I feel like we're in this really strange political, historical, cultural moment where we all just keep referring to things. Like, how are things impacting us? And we know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I got it.
We can't label it.
Correct.
Yeah, so things have been impacting the English department for a while. So AI has been on the horizon for probably the last 5 years, and we've been aware of it for maybe the past 3 or 4. And essentially what we are continually up against is helping not just students, but administrators or even the chancellor or other people who maybe don't understand that, yes, AI can write things for us, but it still needs a human brain to make sure that whatever's being written is actually what the human brain means, right? So like there's something missing there. So interestingly, to go back to the curriculum for a moment, the new coordinator is really interested in infusing our curriculum with AI because we are very much aware that, as a colleague said to me once, very, very wise colleague, we're not going to lose our jobs to AI. We'll lose our jobs to teachers or instructors, professors who know how to help students use AI, right? So we're trying to bring that in. That's that whole thing about trying to help students with whatever they're going to be experiencing in the real world, right? So AI has really kind of thrown a wrench, if you will, into the field of English, and a lot of schools are really struggling with it, and they're losing writing curricula, or they're losing writing programs because essentially, oh, well, AI can do that for you, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the tensions. The other tension is culturally, there just doesn't seem to be a value in literature, which to me seems a little bit bogus and kind of bullshit, because people are still reading and they're still telling stories and they're still watching stories and they're still exploring story, right? So we've been trying to think about how do we kind of, rejigger is not the right word, but how do we think about what we do in terms of literature as being useful to sort of who we are as humanity. I think we're losing that.
Yes.
I was chatting with my students in my American literature class this semester, and I just had a kind of a sad moment or a sad morning where I was listening to the news on the way in, and it's just like things, right?
Things were happening.
Things were happening. And we were talking about, I forget what the piece of literature was, but essentially it was from a marginalized writer. And I said to the class, you know, can I be real with you for a moment? I said, I'm just really worried that we're going to continually lose the voices that we've worked so hard to highlight or to bring to the fore, and that they are going to be erased.
Our current thing environment that we are in at the moment.
Exactly.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing that worries me. It's like the writing instruction or our valuing writing, and really humans have always communicated. So I mean, anyway, we're not going to lose writing, but that it's kind of being superseded by this technology that is seen as like, oh, it's better, but it's really not. And then at the same time, we're also losing the other part of our humanity, which is the storytelling and the literature and the plays.
The human condition behind it all.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it's the humanities
Yeah.
for a reason. That's why,
That's why they call it that.
Exactly.
Overall. Yes, I understand.
Yeah. So those two areas are of great interest to us. And of course, any sort of attack on what's considered DEI we're concerned about. If we want to represent our student population, right? I mean, as I saw somewhere on social media, essentially everyone is DEI in some way. Like it applies to more than just kind
More
of the
than
obvious
most people would
categories.
think, yes.
Exactly. And I think if we're trying to educate humans to be good humans, we need all of those courses.
We need all of the experiences of
Precisely.
and voices of said
Precisely.
humans. Perfect. I just wanted to close out by saying, what are you reading currently, if anything at
Ooh.
all?
Okay, so I just finished
Okay.
a short little novel. The novel is Victorian Psycho,
Okay.
and it absolutely lives up to its name. So if you want to read about a Victorian woman who pretends to be a governess and then murders a bunch of people, oh, spoiler alert, you found
Slay!
your book. Yeah.
I really appreciated
Yes.
you being on the show and having your words spewed out of your mouth.
Yeah. I'm glad they came out of my mouth. That's-
Thank you for joining us today and sharing your knowledge with us. And then for you, the viewer, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you on the next edition of Issues and Ideas.